This week, on my Facebook page, this image came up with that message. In case you hadn't noticed, spring is here. And underneath it said, feeling wonderful. And that was sent by my daughter-in-law. She sent it through and she'd taken a picture of the blossom on the tree because she had seen the blossom and it reminded her, spring is here. Because spring isn't just a word. They could announce any day of the year if they wanted, we've decided to move spring. From now on, spring will be in November. There's only one problem. It wouldn't be spring. Because spring isn't a word. Spring is a season. It's a time. It's a time when things happen. It's a time when things change. And the blossom coming out on the trees is one of the symbols that spring is here. We've got a pair of pigeons that are nesting in a tree just out the back in our neighbour's garden, and they're building their nest at the moment. It's a sign that spring is here. We can't just decide it's spring, but we recognize it's spring, which is exactly what Anya did. And the recognition of the change of season, seeing the beautiful petals and blossom on the tree, caused her to put up feeling wonderful. In our front garden, we've got snowdrops. And each and every year, they are the first thing to get through. Sometimes the ground is still hard. Sometimes they literally come up through the snow. But those little delicate plants are the first ones to come up and announce spring is on its way. And that's the amazing part of the season change. Is it doesn't come with a trumpet call. It doesn't come with a big fanfare. But in our garden, it comes with these tiny little flowers. The other thing you notice, if you drive across the top of the mountain, lambs everywhere. Lambs everywhere. So we've got blossom on the trees. We've got beautiful tender flowers breaking through the ground. We've got new lambs all across the mountainsides and in more sophisticated part of the country, in farmers' fields. Around here, on the road, up on top of the common. But they're everywhere. There is life everywhere. There is change everywhere. Things are happening. So why have I got a picture of a clock in the middle of a field? Surely they didn't grow because it's spring. No, as we all know, today, because we've entered into spring, we all put our clocks forward last night. I know you all put your clocks forward last night because you were all here on time this evening. I have been in churches, particularly where they do a morning service, when people have actually come to the door as we were leaving. Because we had a 1-hour service and they come just in time for the service and they were just in time to say goodbye. Because they didn't move the clock. Because as long as the majority of us move the clock, everybody else has to move with it. So we moved that hour. And some people say, we're losing an hour's sleep tonight. They're taking an hour off us tonight. Now, there is a truth to that. In the sense that when you went to bed last night, if it was 10 o'clock, you had to move your clock to 11. So all of a sudden, you're going to bed an hour late. So when you get up at the same time in the morning, you were an hour short. Now, that was nice if you were working nights. When I used to work in a colliery and I was on the night shift, we got home an hour early. But we paid for it if we were nights regular because 6 months later, we had to work the extra hour and work it back. But people say, we've lost an hour. But the reality is, losing that hour has given us something. That's the view that I had this morning. The sun just beginning to rise. That's not a range of mountains, that red, purpley colour in the background. That's the sun just beginning to come up behind the mountains. Because I was up and everything was happening that would have happened an hour before I got up. So I got to see the sunrise this morning. So that was the first thing I got out of losing my hour. But also, because We all lost an hour last night. We're all going home in the light tonight. As I look out that window at the moment, we go home from here. You won't be going home. You're going back to work. Martin and Gareth are going home, but you've got to go back to work. But we'll all leave here tonight, and it's going to be sunshine. And we haven't done that in a while. But we've jumped the gun because now everything's moved. So tonight we will go out to the car park in the light. We will drive home in the light. Totally different to how it was before, because we made the change. It cost us an hour, but what the light we've gained is with us for the rest of the season and through the summer until they pinch it back again. The Bible says that Jesus declared, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Folks, I'm excited that I've got an extra hour's light tonight. I really think that's good. It's one of the things I look forward to, is getting that hour back. Having that daylight in the evening, the longer nights. You know, in a couple of months' time, it's going to be 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I might still be sat out the garden, enjoying a summer evening. I love it. But that's 1 hour of daylight. What Jesus is promising is light for life forever. For everyone who does what? Who follows him. It's not everyone who goes to church and becomes religious and says certain things and does certain things. All he asks is we follow him. Follow his example. If we'll follow him, if we will let him be our guide, then he will always lead us in the light. Because as the one writer says, we walk in the light even as he is in the light. The work that God has done for this world has brought us from darkness to light. And you might think, well, Phil, that happens anyway. You know, it's not always dark. We're not talking about the sun in the day here. What the Bible's talking about is much more complicated than that. It's about our lives. It's about our ambitions. It's about our hopes. It's about our expectations. It's about our understanding of life. Because so often we just think, what's it all about? Sometimes we just look at the headlines and think, what's going on? Has the world gone mad? What's happening? I don't understand. Nothing makes sense anymore. If I had £1 for every person that has said to me, Phil, nothing seems to make sense anymore, I'd be a rich man. We all get that sense it's time for change. We look at the world around us and think things have to change. But we've already said at the beginning of what I was saying tonight that when spring comes, things change. Because there's new life. And soon we'll be celebrating Easter. And the reason we'll be celebrating Easter is because it is that gift of new life. It celebrates the time when Jesus didn't only die on a cross, but then rose from the dead. He conquered death. He brought life, and life eternal for everyone. So there's not just a need for a change in seasons. There's not just a need for a change in the world. But as Gandhi said, you have to be the change you want to see. If we want a better world, we need to be better people. But as hard as we try, we often find it's too hard. But Jesus says, I'll let you walk in the light. And that makes it so much easier. Isaiah was a prophet. He wrote about Jesus and his death hundreds of years before it happened. And one of the things he said was this: anyone out there who doesn't know where you're going, anyone groping in the dark, here's what to do. Trust in God. Lean on your God. That's what the man said. He said it hundreds of years before Jesus was even born, and we're here 2,000 years after Jesus was born, and the message is still the same. If you're lost, if you're confused, if everything's stopping making sense, if you don't know which way to go, trust God. Lean on him. Because when we trust him, we walk in the light. We walk in the light. People say to me, but I don't understand. I can't, how can I trust someone I can't see? How can I believe in someone that I can't touch? Folks, all I can say to you is this. I've never seen him. I've never touched him. But from the day that I chose to believe and trust in him, I've known he's real, and so real, that there are times when I feel like I've been to hell and back, and he's still been there. On my best days, he makes me feel good. And on my worst days, he makes me feel loved. And that's the truth. Because the Bible tells us God is love. And I could no more explain to you tonight my believing in God than I could explain to you why I feel how I feel about my wife. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. I can tell you all her qualities. I can tell you all the wonderful things she does, but that wouldn't go anywhere near explaining what I feel, because I love my wife. Well, how would I be able to explain God if he's love? He is the very thing that I can't explain. So I'm not here to explain him tonight, but I'm here to tell you, I'm trusting him. I'm walking in the light. And I invite every single one of you to do the same, because it's the best decision you'll ever make. Trust him today, and you'll be walking in the light from today on. Does that mean you'll never have a problem? No. But I'll tell you what, it's much easier to solve problems in the light than it is in the dark. Mike and I used to work underground, and we had a little lamp on our helmets. It didn't seem very much, but let me tell you something. I couldn't do a thing when it went out. I couldn't even move. You didn't, because you couldn't even walk. You went from, I was a fitter, Mike was a cutter man. Mike drove the cutters through the face, cutting the coal. My job to keep them going. We did all the maintenance, we repaired everything. And the moment my light went out, I couldn't move from where I was. I just had to stand still and call for someone else to come and stand by me. And then they'd have to shine light for me to get out of the pit, to be able to get a new lamp. And that's the reality of the difference that God makes in our lives. Is sometimes we're too afraid to move because we don't know what's there. When he's in our life, we never need to be afraid again. Whatever we're going through, he'll shine a light so we can see the way. So today, trust Jesus. Today, walk in the light. And even when they take our hour off us 6 months from now, the stinkers, we'll still be walking in the light. No matter what the time of day, no matter what the situation, no matter who's in number 10, no matter who's sitting in the White House, no matter what terrorists decide they're going to try and destroy our way of life, it will not alter the fact that whatever may come, Christ will shine light into the darkness. Because as I've said so often, everything has come to pass, but Jesus has come to stay. Amen.